Auditory pareidolia, or are their spirits communicating? It's a simple question if you think about it. A quick Google search will tell you it's a normal brain function, a mental health condition or other factors. And the quote below is as follows. Auditory pareidolia. Your brain is constantly trying to make sense of the sounds it hears, and it does this by comparing incoming sounds to patterns it already recognizes. When you hear static, which is essentially random noise, your brain may interpret the fluctuations and peaks in the static as recognizable sounds, like voices or other speech. Brain is a pattern-matching machine. Neil Bauman, CEO of the Center for Hearing Loss Help, explains that your brain is like a pattern-matching machine, constantly searching its database of sounds for matches. When it finds a pattern that resembles a familiar sound, like a word or phrase, it may fill in the gaps and perceive that sound even if it's not truly there. Not necessarily a sign of mental health issues. While auditory hallucinations, hearing voices that aren't actually there, can be a symptom of certain mental health conditions, hearing voices in static is a normal phenomenon and doesn't necessarily indicate a problem. Other factors, such as tinnitus, hearing loss, or certain medications, can also contribute to hearing sounds that aren't actually there. Taking all that into account but bearing in mind there is a smaller quote underneath it all that states, "This is for informational purposes only. For medical advice or diagnosis, consult a professional. Generative AI is experimental." It can all be a little confusing to say the least. If we are on the side of caution, however, hearing unexplainable voices in the midst of a sound like static is nothing more than your brain making things up or something a little more serious that may need medical attention. But what if it's none of those things? What if, instead of it merely being normal or requiring medical help, it is in fact something that's paranormal in nature? And that's what's led me down this paranormal rabbit hole, although, truth be told, this paranormal rabbit hole I've been going down has been rather long, several years in fact. Admittedly, I have only tried out this theory once or twice before. But the aim of the experiment itself is to prove, not only to myself, but others, that spirit communication can be obtained through the use of listening to static in order to receive words or even full-blown conversations. Now, I know what you're thinking. Am I really proposing that spirits can reach out and speak to me through static? The answer is a resounding yes. In all honesty, I think it's possible for anyone who's curious to know as to whether or not it can actually happen. Think of it this way, if you will. If EVP captures are to be believed, and believe me when I tell you I, amongst others, have been fortunate enough to capture some really compelling voices out of pure thin air with the aid of background noise, static, amongst other noises, or even without any background noise, that does happen too, then why would it not be possible to obtain the same results through listening to static and writing down what you hear? Admittedly, you could argue that the practitioner is simply writing down what's already in their own head, thoughts, etc., and claiming that what they have written is spirit communication. And that's a valid point and one I'd be asking too. However, if, before the experiment is begun, I, or whomever else wishes to attempt the same experiment, asks out loud, to whoever may be listening, if they would be so kind as to give their names, previous surname if possible, and various other bits of information to me, or others who attempt it, and once said experiment is over, the information can be verified in some way, wouldn't that then prove that the experiment is valid? So, in short, or long, that is what I am proposing to attempt. I can't tell you that it'll work first time round, or even 50 times round, but what I can say is this. Genuine attempts at spirit communication are too few and far between these days. If you take a quick look at the sheer amount of true paranormal content out there today, you'll understand why I'm doing what I do. Will it work? Really does remain to be seen, and if you'll follow along with me, I'm sure you'll find out.